I would like to welcome you all in the lecture series of waste management. In this session, I'm going to discuss what do you mean by waste collection system design? What are the parameters to be considered for developing the waste collection system? That means we need to have some calculation because since we are doing like a scientific approach, we should have some calculation, some estimation. So those parameters I'm going to discuss. Before beginning of the session, let me list out what are the parameters I'm going to consider for the design. Yes, first of all, you need to consider that why the waste collection system is required, because we need to design the size. First of all, we require a size of the waste. See, size of the waste collection system that is required. How do we estimate the size of the waste collection system? That means duration of time is needed. Apart from that, what kind of vehicle they are implementing and how to calculate the load, everything we require. So what you're supposed to do is, in order to design, you need to consider the following parameters. So this is known as the design parameters for the waste collection system. What are they? Number of services or vehicle load required, time required for collecting one load, the number of loads or number of crew or number of days required for doing the waste collection system, then administrative and break time, because that is needed because an administrative office will be worked apart from that particular waste management system. Hauling and traveling time. Hauling means controlling and traveling time. Time spent on the collection route. Okay, collection routing. The length of the work day. What is the duration? And how long the workstation, the transfer station is going to be operated. Then how long the collection system will be active. Calculation of the number of vehicles and crews. Calculation of annual vehicle and labor cost. These are the major parameters we need to consider if you want to design an optimum waste collection system. So we'll discuss individually. So let me continue further. So in this slide, I am going to discuss about how do you calculate or how do you estimate the number of services or the number of vehicle load required. Okay, it is represented by the letter capital letter N. So we have the formula. Capital letter N can be computed by using CD divided by W. Now tell me what is C? C is nothing but vehicle capacity in terms of volume, meter cube. D is the waste density in terms of kilogram per meter cube. That's a SI unit of waste density, where W is known as waste generation per residence. It is also in terms of kilogram per service. These are the three parameters you need to consider in order to calculate the number of services or number of vehicle load. Number of services means number of vehicle load, that or number of vehicle load, that is represented by CD divided by W. This mathematical formula is required for computing the further calculation. Let me call it as first equation. Later, how do you calculate the time required for collecting one load? Yes, we have formula. The time required for collecting one load is represented by the letter E. That is given by the product of the number of services into the loading time. Okay. So that means E is given by N into L. Let me call it as equation number 2. So please call all the equation with the number so that we can easily recall. Anyway, we require to have the time required for collection of one load. For that purpose, I require the number of services and the loading time. These two things are required. That means N into L. E is equal to N into L. So this formula you can note down separately so that it will be very clear to clear for forthcoming steps. In the third criteria, as you can observe, the number of loads or the number of crew or the number of day, that is represented by the small letter N. The number of load, small letter N, that each crew can collect in a day can be estimated based upon the workday length, that is represented by the capital letter T, the time spent on the administrative break, that is T1, the time for controlling or hauling, that is represented by T2, and the collection route time, that is T3. So all are comes under the workday length T. Okay, T1, T2, and T3. I think it's clear to everybody. So now we need to segment. What is T1, what is T2, what is T3, everything we have to segment it. So first of all, I will talk about the T1. Okay, why we are calculating T1, we already discussed. T1 means the administrative break and the break. So it is a part of a workday length. So how to calculate T1? T1 is nothing but the sum of the administrative time, that means the meeting, paperwork, unexpected slack time, tolerance time, etc., plus the time for break and lunch. So that is actually called the sum of A plus B, administrative time plus time for lunch break, maybe 1 hour or 45 minutes. Okay. That will be actually called the administrative break time, which is indicated by the letter T1. Why T1 is required? To calculate the workday length. So next, if I talk about the T2, what is T2? T2 is nothing but hauling and other traveling time. That is T2. T2 is nothing but NH minus F plus G plus J. What is N? N is the number of load or number of crew per day. So Let me see. N means, look at this. N will be obtained. So small letter n. Small letter n means the number of loads. Okay. That means N into H. What is H? H is the time travel to disposal site. H is the time taken for the movement of the waste from the transfer station to disposal site. And F is the time for return from the site to route. Okay, we went to disposal site and come back to the transfer station or come back to the waste generation point. G is the time travel from the staging garage to the route. That is regarding like the maintenance of the vehicle and all. J is the time to return from the disposal site to garage. Okay, garage is the place where the vehicles are kept for after completion of the duty. So that is regarding T2. So next parameter is actually T3. T3 means N into E. So what is N here? N is nothing but, look at this, small letter N. Small letter N is nothing but the number of loads or crew or day. Okay, that is small letter N. N into E. What is E? E is already found out. E is nothing but time required for collecting one load. That is called E. So you have to multiply with the small letter N, N into E. I'll be getting T3. That means time spent on the collection route. That is T3. So now, if I want to calculate the overall workday length, that is equal to T1 plus T2 plus T3. Now, if you want, you can check it out. What is T1? Look at this. We already familiar. T1 is nothing but administrative and break time. T2 is nothing but hauling and other travel time. T3 is nothing but time spent on collecting the route. These are the segments which are comes under the workday length. That is T. That is needed. Now, how do you calculate the number of vehicles and crew? It is represented by the letter K. Okay, K is another parameter. K is nothing but SF by N, capital letter N, small letter n, and M. What is S stand for? S is the number of services in the collection area. It is, we can call it as equation number 4. Okay. S is the number of services at the collection area. S. F is the frequency of collection. How many number of times people are coming to the particular area and collecting the waste. M is the number of work days per week. M. Okay. What about N and capital letter N? See, capital letter N is nothing but, you can check it up. We already discussed capital letter N. Number of services or vehicle load, where small letter N is nothing but number of loads. Okay, that is the small letter N. So that you have to remember properly. These are certain equations. Then M is the number of work days per week, maybe 5 days or 6 days, depends. So this is the way how to calculate the number of vehicles and crews needed. That is represented by the letter K. Ultimately, we have to calculate the annual and the cost, because we have to consider the financial aspects. If I talk about the financial aspects, we have to calculate the annual and vehicle cost. So vehicle cost is equal to the following factors. The vehicle cost will be depending on depreciation, then maintenance charge, consumables, overhead, license, fees, insurance. All the parameters we have to consider. If I talk about the labor cost, I need to consider like driver salary, crew salary, fringe benefit, then indirect labor cost, then supplies and overhead charges. These are the major things which are comes under both the vehicle cost as well as labor cost. These two parameters also you have to consider. So in this session, we discussed about the various parameters which are related to the waste collection system design. So we computed the number of services per vehicle load or vehicle load, then time required for collecting one load, and the number of loads or number of loads per crew per day. Okay. Then administrative and break time, then hauling and other traveling time, time spent on collection route, length of workday, calculation of number of vehicle and crews, calculation of annual vehicle and labor cost. So you can go through these parameters, and those equations are also important. So kindly make use of this. For example, number of services per vehicle per load, some number of services per vehicle load or vehicle load. That is a certain equation I have marked like 1, 2, 3, 4. Those equations you have to remember, and you can go ahead with the system design. Only theoretical knowledge is needed right now, like problems and all we'll solve afterwards. If you require that problem, I will solve afterwards. Thank you so much for watching this video.